They destroyed our farm crops with their cattle with intention of blockage of foods, lady lamented. A social media user has lamented over the recent instructions of NGF Northern Governors Forum. It is no longer news that Northern Governors Forum has concluded that the Northerners will no longer supply their foodstuff to the Southerners, rather to some neighboring countries due to some casualties that has been reported from the Southerners over the recent attacks from Fulani herdsmen and their cattle. However, a tweet user gives Emeka a a Twitter user, I'm guessing username Emeka, has lamented that it was all planned. That was the actual reason Fulani herdsmen are destroying their crops with their cattle. So he said they destroyed our farm crops with their cattle with the intention of food blockade from the north. Look at the situation at hand. I have come to a conclusion that enemies are trying to do everything in their power to spite the country, but if we can be able to work together as one, we would definitely defeat the enemies of this country. So basically the whole point of this, allegedly, from what this person is saying, is that the destroying of farm crops in the western part of the country was to prevent food from the north coming down to the south. Frankly, to me, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Because what is just stopping them from announcing that we are not going to be... Like, it makes it sound like as if we're such unreasonable people. If you all are hungry, or for whatever reason you don't want to bring food to the south, you think people will not find a way to find things to eat? Why can't you just say that if that was the reason? I don't think that's the reason at all. I really don't think that's the reason at all. I don't even think it's a Fulani herdsman kind of thing. I believe that, I'm not even this what I believe because it's controversial, but I believe that their image is being used, and the real enemies are not them. The real enemies are the government, and unfortunately we are also distracted, and the government has played us, and we look at each other to find the problem when really the problem is the government. And by the time we will get to that point, we are all tired, we've exerted all our energy in insulting each other, that the government is like, okay, fine, let's look for something new to take their attention away, and spend their energy so that they can use their energy arguing and fighting for something that is not. That's it. And that's what I personally think. So it says, our lands are fertile, let everyone make their farms plant something, no matter how little. Someone says the most wicked people in the world are the people of the northern Nigeria, excluding Middle Belt. Wow, okay. I mean, a bit extreme, but you're just saying your opinion, so you are just going to plaster that with your emotions and whatever. Someone says, I believe God Almighty never sleeps. We will strongly bounce back to a form like Cristiano Ronaldo hit the enemy post that they imagine how, because God has time to strengthen us. I laugh at those mockers, they will be put to shame. Okay, what's your action plan? Someone says, why didn't Northern Governors Forum also advise the herdsmen to vacate to the forest of our neighboring countries? Is this not hypocrisy? True. I so much love the Northers for their unity and their voice at all time. Instead of shouting, Southerners should counter them by uniting together and do the same by refusing to buy cow meat. Stop oil to the north, go back to farms. Land is in everywhere that they need no fertilizer. Tomatoes don't stay long, it perishes. All right. I don't know. I think we just the northern see. I don't even know what to think about this Northern Governors Forum, because they are just so incompetent. Not like the South is any better, to be very honest, but what? It's just so weird. I don't know. This country is very, very strange. It really is very, very strange. Like, you can't really. We all need to go back. I think this thing is beyond prayer now. We need to go and recheck our identity. Like, I just don't understand. Honestly, I'm not going to focus on the Northern Government Forum because they've not proven to be efficient, to be well reasoned with their judgments on a very serious level. All they do is talk, pretty much. Not that it's like it's not the same in the southern part, but we are very much more vocal, and our shouting and our loudness is what the government understands. It's really what they understand. And because of the, I'd say in my own words, over compliance in the north, you're not getting represented. Don't even try, like that's the thing. Don't even try to make it be like as if, oh, we're complying, we're submissive because we have a system, this is how it works. You're being cheated, my guy. Like most of your people are in government, and yet you guys are you're living so bad. And there's such a disconnect, because it's like the life and the mentality of people in the south is so different to those in the north. And so, again, if you want to really show your anger and all that, go do it to your government, because they're the ones that are responsible. And I believe that we need to take responsibility for our own thoughts and how we view each other, because we cannot be letting little things, irrelevant things like tribalism, make us so so distracted. We need to blame the government and not ourselves. Fine, not that we can't take responsibility for certain character flaws and all that, but we can't afford to be selfish. And so, again, will that ever happen? Because for that to happen, for us to be united and not see us as a problem and deal with tribalism in our own way, we can actually have one Nigeria. But the fact is, we can't. We really, really can't. Because there's so much history we need to uncover in terms of rooting our own identity, because we are not represented as Nigerians. The fact that our official language is English, I find a problem. I find there's a huge problem with that. I really do. I used to ask adults and be like, okay, why is our language English? The answer is because we were colonized by the British. What? Like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what kind of shabby answer is this? Like, is this justified? Because we're Africans and we should have our own language. But it just seemed normal, like that's how it should be. But obviously, you living in Nigeria, you will become abnormal, and that's just what it is. But yeah, I think we are, in so many ways, there are so many character flaws that I genuinely believe that we need to go back to colonization, and we need to know what really happened with us and why our mentality is that it is why it is today. Um I believe that we are a product of or traumatized people, and it's not even a thing. Or we need to talk. We actually need to talk. I think an example that will prove what I'm saying in terms of us being a product of traumatized generations from before is that, for example, right now there are not a lot of elders in that are Biafrans who fought in the Biafran war, because they are survivors, obviously, and they don't necessarily come to talk about these things. Why do I say this? Because in other countries, for example, like in the UK, people who fought in World War I, World War II, they would come and share their experiences. And then when there's a Memorial Day in the UK, for example, the people actually feel it, because the people who are survivors, tell their stories and recall what happened. They are traumatized, but as they say these things, the people here are recording what's happening. And so when they go forward with each of their memorial days, they feel it, because there's a togetherness. There's a wow. That history still brings them together. It creates some sort of unity. And so I feel like when there's not a massive program of teaching children or teaching us our identity, where we came from, the history, like what we are. And I feel like, um colonization, slave trade was not our history. Our history was interrupted because of that. So I'm not saying we should go and start claiming or sort of living in that, oh, we're colonized, that's our history. No, 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 no. Our history was going on, and then it got interrupted by the slave trade and colonialism. And that's just what it is. But yeah, I believe we need to go back and go and sort things out. Deep rooted issues that have been passed from generation to generation, and we wonder why we are currently like this. It's all a function of our mind and a blend and refinement of old ideas, which obviously is manifesting in us today. Put what you think about this in the comment section below, and do not forget to like and subscribe.